Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be doing pork ribs. This is going to be a full beginner's tutorial, so I'm going to show you from start to finish how I like to do pork ribs. We're going to go through the smoker setup, we're going to go through the trim and preparation of the pork ribs, and I'll show you a heap of tips and tricks along the way. So we'll waste no more time and we'll get stuck into it. Alright, so we've got our beautiful rack of pork ribs here. They're nice and meaty. They're going to need a little bit of a trim, but before we get into that, we're going to go through the smoker setup. So today we're going to be using the Oklahoma Joe's Bronco drum smoker. This is a really versatile and efficient bit of kit. So all we've done to start with is we've filled our charcoal basket up with about 2 kilos of briquettes. We've made them into a nice pile. Then in the middle of the pile, we've put our fire lighter. We've lit that up and we've left the lid open just to get plenty of oxygen in there, and then we're going to wait until our fire lighter burns out and our briquettes have cooled alight. Alright, so while we're waiting on our smoker, we're going to get stuck into the pork ribs. So we're going to start by taking that bottom membrane off. So what we're going to need is a butter knife and some paper towel. And what we're going to do to start with, we're going to get our butter knife, and we'll slide it under the end bone, go after a bit, give it a bit of a wiggle around until we break that membrane. Trust me on this one, the paper towel is going to make your life a whole lot easier. You're going to grip the paper towel, you're going to grip the membrane with the paper towel, we're going to start peeling that membrane back. Alright, so now we're going to trim these up a little bit. We're going to start by removing some of this white fat on the top. We're just going to make them as nice and uniform as possible. Get rid of any of that silver skin and expose as much as that meat as we can. See, there's a little bit of cartilage under there. You can go ahead and just grab your knife and run it through there. It's going to come out pretty easily. Tidy up the bottom a little bit. See, there's still some cartilage running through there. So again, you're not going to get all of it, but just take off the bulk of it. You can see the end of the bone where the knuckle is. Alright, so that's probably as far as I'm going to go with the trim. So we've removed most of that silver skin and fat, and we've removed the membrane off the bottom and tidied that up as well. So now we're going to go ahead and season them. Alright, so you can go ahead and use whatever pork rubs you want. If you've got a favourite, go ahead and use that, but these are 2 of my favourites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build levels of flavour. So we're going to start with the kosmosq honey killer bee. So that's going to give us a nice sweet base, and then we're going to use some dirty bird on top. That's going to give us a nice savoury level. And then to finish off, we're obviously going to use some barbecue sauce and some glaze at the end. So we'll have a nice sweet and savoury and sweet. So when you bite into it, you're going to taste them levels of flavour. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to put some mustard on our ribs. We're going to rub it in, and that's just going to help our rub it bind to the pork ribs. And then we're just going to give them a nice even coverage. So like I said, we'll start with our honey killer bee. Make sure you get the ends. Then we've got a layer of our dirty bird. And flip it over and repeat on the top. Alright, now they're seasoned up, let's go finish off setting up our smoker. Alright, so we've got a couple of peach chunks from Natural Smoke. It's a beautiful sweet smoke that pairs perfectly with pork. So we've placed 2 big chunks just onto our lit charcoal down the bottom there. And we've put in our heat deflector and our grill. And now it's time to get our pork ribs on. So we're going to run this at about 275 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to smoke them until we're really happy with that colour. And we're going to get them out and we're going to wrap them up in some foil with some brown sugar, some butter and some honey. So we'll get these on and we'll come back a bit later. Alright, so we're about an hour in now and our ribs are starting to take on a really nice colour, but I'm not quite happy with it yet. I want to see that real nice deep rich mahogany colour and that bark or crust on the outside to just set a little bit more before we wrap them up. So I also wanted to just say, if you're using a Weber or an offset barbecue, check out the cards up above here. If you needed to know what type of setup you need to run ribs, then check these cards out. The snake method that we used last week in our brisket video would be perfect for these ribs. I'll show you a little bit about the offset smoker and the fire management and setup around that if you check out the other card as well. So we'll come back in about an hour's time and we'll check our ribs. Right, so it's been about another hour now, so we're at 2 hours total in time. Now I've got some butter, brown sugar, honey and 2 layers of foil ready. So what I'll do in preparation is I'll lay down half of my butter on the foil. Put some brown sugar down as well. Then a drizzle of honey. And then we're going to be laying the ribs meat side down on that. And then we're going to be putting a meat side down in the smoker so the meat bastes in all of them juices and becomes really tender. So now we'll get our ribs out. Alright, so now we're going to do the exact same thing for the underside of the ribs. Go ahead and put the rest of our butter on. Another sprinkle of brown sugar. More honey. If you wanted to, you could put some apple juice, some cider, some apple cider vinegar, put a bit of that in there, help for a little bit of extra flavour, but we're just going to keep it real basic. We're going to wrap these up nice and tight, and then we'll get them back in the smoker. Alright, so we're going to get these back in the smoker. We're going to check them after about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So I want you to get rid of the 3-2-1 method that you might have heard. It's just a basic method. What I like to do is smoke to colour, wrap until they're tender, and then we'll remove them after they're tender, and we'll baste them with some barbecue sauce and a bit of a glaze. So we'll come back once they're probing nice and tender. If you've got a metal skewer, get one of them ready, or if you've got like an instant read thermometer, get one of them ready, and we're going to be looking for about that 205 degree Fahrenheit internal mark. So we'll come back a bit later on and check them then. Alright, so it's been another hour now, so we're at about 3 hours total time. Got my instant read thermometer, so let's have a look and see where we're at with the ribs. Right, so they're feeling really nice and soft. No resistance at all when I'm probing around. Now they're around that 205 to 210 mark, which is perfect. So what we'll do now is we'll get them out of the foil and we'll put them back meat side up on the grill rack. Alright, so now our ribs are out of the wrap and they're back on the grill. You'll notice they've lost a little bit of that rub that was built up nicely on the ribs. That's pretty normal, you can't help it as it's basting in all that juice. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pour a little bit more rub on it. And then we're going to give it about 15-20 minutes for that to set again. Don't throw your juices that are in this alfoil away as well. We're going to mix that with our barbecue sauce just to thin it down a little bit, and it's going to give it a really nice gloss. So now we've done that, we're going to get some barbecue sauce, put it in our little saucepan. We're going to put it in the grill as well just to heat up, and we're going to mix a little bit of that juice in there as well just to thin it down a bit. Alright, so just stir your sauce around, get it to a nice consistency where it's not too thick but not too runny. And we'll let that heat up in there, and in about 10 minutes it's going to be nice and hot and that rub would have set, and we'll give our ribs our first baste. Right, so we've just used some kosmosq original competition barbecue sauce. You can use whatever of your favourite barbecue sauces that you like. There's plenty in the supermarkets or plenty online, but that's just definitely one I like to use because it's got a nice balance of flavour and there's not too much heat in there, so it's good for the kids as well. So we'll give that 10 minutes and we'll come back. Alright, so it's been 10 minutes now. That rub's set on the ribs and our sauce is nice and hot, so we're going to go ahead and baste our ribs now. Alright, so that's our first baste done. We're going to give it 2 bastes, so we're going to let that set for about 10 minutes, then we'll come back, give it 1 more sauce, let it set for another 10 minutes, and it'll be time to serve them up and give them a try, so we'll be back soon. Alright, so I've just opened it up and had a look. I've changed my mind. I'm only going to give it 1 coat of sauce because they look that good and I can't wait. If you want to go ahead and give it a second sauce and you like your ribs nice and saucy, go ahead and give it a second coat. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll get them off and give them a try, eh? Alright, so the ribs are ready. They look and smell amazing. So let's get stuck into it. So you don't want to slice your ribs on the meat side down. You either want to stand them up or turn them upside down. Slice a couple of ribs. Oof. Now it's time for a taste, eh? Give you a quick close up. That's bloody good. As you can see, still plenty of juice in there, nice and tender. Pull away from the bone really well. Now the flies are coming in and wanting to try some too. That's the end of the video. If you've got any questions, ask them in the comments below. And if you learned something, give this video a thumbs up. And if you really liked it, then do us a favour and subscribe to our channel. It's a huge, huge favour you can do for us. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.